What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. First off, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Today we're doing something in 2K24 that we have not done yet this year, and that is going back in time to redo an offseason. And today on tap we have the Phoenix Suns. If you guys can think of any other team that might need a redo of what happened in the offseason, comment down below. But the reason why we're doing the Phoenix Suns is because, of course, we all know what they did. They traded for Bradley Beal to form a big three of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. And I think it's safe to say the season has not gone as planned so far for the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, Bradley Beal back now, but has really struggled with injury. And they're only like 19 and 17, and currently they're a play-in team. So things just aren't going well as much as they would have hoped, I would say. Well, I do think things will eventually turn around for them, and they're still a contender in the West regardless. I wonder what this team would look like if they just focused on depth rather than maybe just going out and getting a third guy. That's what we're going to do today. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you are new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. If you guys enjoyed this series, by the way, and want to see me do more of these redo off seasons, comment down below, drop a like, make sure you guys let me know you guys want to see more of these. But like I said, today we're starting with the Phoenix Suns, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to restart the whole off season. As I hit my, arm on the desk, whatever, that's besides the point. We're going to restart the whole offseason, so the whole lottery is going to change up as well. So everybody in the lottery, lottery is going to be way different. So Wembanyama could be somewhere else, Scoop could be somewhere else. So we're just going to make everything really funky in these videos. So just go ahead and just start with that. I guess we can look at historic changes. I don't know if there'd be anything here. All league teams will be, oh yeah, so that obviously that actually happened in real life. But lottery time, so let's see how different this would be. Obviously we know what the odds were. If you remember them, you definitely have to think back on it, but let's see what it ends up being. So Mavericks, they jump up to 1. Wow. Okay. So Dallas keeps their pick, which they did in real life too, but they jump up to 1, while Spurs number 2, Pistons drop to 5, Rockets drop to 6. That is unfortunate. I don't believe we have a pick in this draft, but I could be wrong. Yeah. So it does go to the Brooklyn Nets. So no picks for us in this draft. And of course, as we know, they did hire Frank Vogel, which 2K still has him on the team. So I don't hate that. I think that's fine. So I am going to go ahead and keep Frank Vogel around. But the one thing we're not doing today, as I mentioned, is we're not trading for Bradley Beal. Now, this roster is going to be a little bit interesting to look at, which we haven't even done yet. I haven't even looked at the roster that I'm working with. We know what we have in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, of course. But outside of that, what else do we have is the question. And that is DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul, man. Definitely interesting to look at these two names back on the Phoenix Suns. But of course, we're still going to make some trades. We're still going to try to make things happen here, but we're just not going for Bradley Beal. In my opinion, I would have rather seen the Phoenix Suns focus on some legitimate depth. Of course, they, got some decent depth in the offseason. Drew Eubanks has not been the backup center they hope he would be. They got Watanabe and some other stuff, but I think they could have done a little bit better, which is what we're going to try to do today. So Durant and Booker are obviously the two guys we love that we have, but now it's time to see what we can get for Chris Paul and DeAndre. And so, of course, in this scenario, DeAndre never goes to Portland because we're probably not making a trade with them in this scenario. And then Chris Paul, we'll figure out what we're going to do with him. We are definitely not keeping him around. So let's go ahead, start this offseason with a couple trades. We can just head straight to draft night as well. Let's get at least one of these trades out of the way, whether it's Ayton or Chris Paul. But I definitely want to get rid of one of them. I'm going to try to get some really good depth back for both these guys. That's basically what I'm going to focus on, is getting some legitimate role players to surround Durant and Booker. And of course, if we can get a third star somehow, I maybe wouldn't turn it down, but I think it's going to be tough to do, but we'll see what happens. Today's video is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a player props app that's available on mobile or desktop. The way PrizePicks works, not only do they have basketball, they have all kinds of sports like cricket, for example, tennis. They got all kinds of sports on PrizePicks that you can play some entries on. So basically how it works is you choose between 2 to 6 players, 2 players being 3 times your entry, all the way up to 6 players being 25 times your entry. So it's as simple as this. If you think Halliburton's going to score more than 23.5 over the Celtics tomorrow, you click the more on that projection. If you think Chet's scoring over 18.5 on the Wizards, you click more on the projection. It's that simple. PrizePicks is a great way to have an extra sweat while you watch sports. If you want to set for PrizePicks, use code Crushables. They match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Link is down in the description below. So I know when it comes to DeAndre Ayton, the team I want to focus on for depth, and this is the team I always love going to make trades with, and I'm just looking for elite role players for depth, and that is the Washington Wizards. Now, of course, this team did trade with the Washington Wizards. They have Porzingis here as well at this point still, but we are going to actually go get Gafford, Monte Morris, potentially Kuzma. We're going to try to make things like that happen. I thought Kuzma was a free agent. I'm not sure why he's listed here, but whatever. So Monte Morris, that might just be 2K's file broken. I'm not too surprised. But we won't let it hinder us here. So I'm going to try to get Monte Morris and like Daniel Gafford here for 2 guys coming back from a DeAndre Ayton trade. And I wouldn't mind Danny Avdija either, but I'm going to have to throw someone else in here. So even like DeLon Wright. So if I can find a way to make this happen, I would absolutely love it. DeAndre Ayton for these 3. Call it a day. What do you say? They want a first-round pick and a second-round pick. They want a first-round pick swap from 2026. Don't they? Okay, so it looks like 2K when you start in the offseason, which is really, really lame. Or maybe this could be how it is, but I'm pretty sure the Suns have this pick swap in real life after the Bradley Beal trade. I could be wrong, but 2K may not have updated all that, which kind of is annoying, but whatever. So we trade a first-round pick, but we get Monty Morris, Gafford, DeLon Wright, and Anthony Gill out of it. I would try to keep my first if possible. That'd be awesome if I could keep it out of this trade. They want, you know, they're going to keep asking for that first-round pick. Can I throw someone else at you? Like Ish Wainwright's not on an actual contract. Landry Shamet could go back to, but he's making too much money. What about Cameron Payne? Cameron Payne can go back to them. So let's say they do this for Cameron Payne. They want another second. They'll give me Isaiah Todd. It is a big trade. We're trading 4 seconds in this trade. But you know what? 4 seconds isn't really going to hurt my feelings. It's fine. We get to keep the first out of it. So Monty Morris, Gafford, DeLon Wright is going to be our first trade. We also get a couple young other players to throw in here too. So I can't be too upset with that first trade. So we have a couple of guys who I think fill out our depth really nicely with Gafford, DeLon Wright, and Monty Morris. I think Monty Morris is like the perfect point guard to have on this team, actually. So feeling really good about that first trade. And then now we can, well, I guess we still don't have a draft pick, so that doesn't really matter. But now our point guard situation gets a little bit more figured out with Monty Morris, DeLon Wright, which I don't hate at all. Obviously, free agency, we still have Landry Shamet as our backup too, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Durant is either going to be our 3 or 4, and then right now Gafford is our starting 5. But I would love to have him more as a backup, but that all depends on what we get for Chris Paul. So we'll just go straight past the draft and straight to player options, so nothing going on here. Qualifying offers Baisley. I'll extend it just because we may need the depth, honestly. And then let's see what we have. So we do have an MLE, which is also going to be really, really important in this scenario. So, like, Paul Reed is here. But I think I want to use this on a forward. So let's take a look at our options. So, Monty Morris is probably going to start point guard with Gafford. Devin Booker's going to start the 2. So right now we don't really have a legitimate starting wing, which is what we need the most. So I see like Rui Hachimura, Max Strus, McDaniels, Barnes, Dylan Brooks Dylan Brooks I wouldn't hate either. Rui Hachimura, Trey Lyles. So PJ Washington. Those are actually some decent options. Even Grant Williams doesn't feel too bad as an option either. Rui Hachimura would be my favorite. I think the Lakers would match it though 100%. So I think getting Dylan Brooks would not be the worst thing in the world. It's actually been kind of decent in Houston. Obviously, I don't know. I mean, why not? I feel like Dylan Brooks wouldn't be the worst guy to go get. We don't have to pay him $20 million either, so that actually feels really good. So Dylan Brooks, we're going to sign you. So that's going to be awesome. So Dylan Brooks is our first signing. Kogi, we're also going to re-sign as well. That's going to be an important, I think, re-sign there with our, obviously, bird rights. So we'll sign those guys to the contracts, and then after that, it's a little, obviously, thinner now. So we don't really have a bunch of options. I'll sign Biombo as a 3rd string backup 5 potentially. We do have like Terrence Ross, Damian Lee, who are also options here. We'll come back to that. Beverly, we could sign him free agency. Seth Curry. So there's still some options out here, but I think the rest of the roster is coming from a Chris Paul trade. So I don't hate the idea of Brooks, but again, I think I really want to find a starting 5 and a backup wing if possible in a Chris Paul trade. Now, will that be possible? I have no idea. We really have to think about what teams needed a point guard in Chris Paul. So we'll see what, gets offered to us first, and then we'll go from there. So when it comes to Chris Paul, I think I'm liking a trade with the Clippers the most. Now, keep in mind, this is before they have re-signed Russell Westbrook. So if we could get Norman Powell and Zubac out of this trade, I'd feel really solid. But they were originally offering me Eric Gordon. I don't really want to have to take Eric Gordon, although he did come to Phoenix in real life, of course, but that was through like a free agency signing. So let's see what they'd say to this. So Chris Paul, Zubac, Powell, what do you say? They want a Kogi in that 1st round pick. I'm not giving a Kogi away, unfortunately. I don't have any. I mean, I could throw that 1st in here. It wouldn't feel good to do. I guess I don't hate throwing the 1st in here. If I'm gonna get, they want a Kogi, Covington. I really want to keep a Kogi, but if I can get these guys, I think we got to do it. I'll throw Anthony Gill in here. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. 1st round pick. I'm not throwing 2 firsts. That's insane. And then I will also throw Isaiah Todd. Like, that's probably where I'm going to go with this. They'll give me Terrence Mann. Oh, gosh. I might have to consider this. So we do have to we trade all of our picks away. which honestly is not out of the realm of possibility because Matt Ishbia basically traded everything away. I think we got to do this. I mean, we're getting Zubac, Powell, and Terrence Mann. I think this is a really good haul to get for Chris Paul. Unfortunately, we do have to trade a couple firsts on top of it, which I kind of hate. But I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. That gives us all the depth we needed, which I think is perfect. So now that gives us Terrence Mann, and this still gives us some contracts if need be at the deadline and make some moves if we need to. So I can move Terrence Mann around to whatever I want to, which is really nice. I'm going to move him to the 2 at the moment. So it'll be DeLon Wright, Monty Morris, Devin Booker, Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, Dylan Brooks, Josh Okogie, Kevin Durant, and then you have Zubac and Gafford. I feel really solid about this team. I think we've done a pretty solid job, rather than just going for D-Book. So let's see how it ends up panning out for us as far as progression is concerned. Get those guys back as well. Powell does go down, which kind of sucks, but Monty Morris is up, Gafford is up. So I don't know. I feel pretty solid. I feel decent about those acquisitions, the moves we've made this offseason to give this team a really good core, really some really good role players around Durant and Booker. Obviously, those are the 2 guys that are going to have to carry us to the promised land, and they're going to have to do a good job at it. But I still feel good about this. So let's see what this rotation is going to look like. And obviously, things are going to look way different around the league now as well. But now you have 3.5 perimeter centric. I still don't know if I'm sold on Zubac being the starting 5 going forward, but we can be a 4-star. So, Zubac and Gafford still a really solid, center rotation in my opinion. So can't be too upset with it. So let's take a look at what it's looking like. So Monty Morris, Devin Booker, Dylan Brooks, Kevin Durant, Zubac, Terrence Mann, Gafford, Norman Powell, and Josh Okogie. Then you still have DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet. So we do have some salaries at the deadline if we feel like we need to make another move, which, again, our asset pool, obviously not really going to be there. I guess we get another pick. But yeah, assets very limited, but we have salaries. So maybe we find a way to make another move at the deadline, but I'm curious to see how this team does now that we've made all these changes in Phoenix. So I have stopped at the trade deadline as we're 35-16 on the season right now. And although I don't know if we should make any moves because the team is actually really phenomenal, I do wonder if I shouldn't stay complacent. So we're just going to take a look and see if there's anything interesting that we might need to jump on. So the Timberwolves are selling in this scenario. They're not very good. The Blazers still have Damian Lillard, Nurkic. They're not very good either. So, we could go get Dame, but that would be really hard to do and pull off. DeAndre and Porzingis front court's not working in Washington. The Bucks are rebuilding. What else do we got? I mean, this is just a whole different... Clippers are really bad with Chris Paul, I guess. The Hawks are contending, so the Atlanta Hawks are back to being really good. The Hornets, they're selling, as I almost choked on my own words. You got the Kings selling. I mean, Sabonis, obviously, would absolutely love to get him. If I was able to get him, that'd be awesome. Kessler, Markkanen. So the Jazz are always interesting. Mitch Robinson. I guess in this scenario, the Knicks aren't very good. Wembanyama and Luka, they're struggling at the moment, but that's still a really good tandem going forward. And Claxton, man. I obviously would love to get Claxton, and I do have the salaries to make it work. Jakob Poeltl. If the Raptors were to sell, I think Jakob Poeltl could actually be available. But I kind of like what Zubac is doing for us. So I think I might just stand pat, which sucks to do. But 35-16, I might regret this, but we're pretty good right now. I'm not going to force anything. If we lose, it's my fault. But I kind of like how this team is doing. So we're just going to keep going with how the team is doing at the moment. So at the end of year number 1, Trae Young wins MVP. Wembanyama, Rookie of the Year on the Dallas Mavericks. Poole is your 6-man. Claxton, Defensive Player. Garland, Most Improved, and also Clutch Player, while Quinn Snyder, Coach of the Year, and Christopher Bell is your Executive. So the Atlanta Hawks become that team. If you guys remember that period in 2K where they were unstoppable, well, here they are again. So Trae Young, Drummond, Luka, Giannis, Jokic. I assume we get both Booker and Durant on here. So we get Durant and Booker. So both of them were phenomenal this season, which is no surprise. Obviously, they're the 2 guys scoring the basketball. Everyone else just kind of has a role, which is kind of what I wanted to be anyway. We finished up as the 2nd seed in the West, while you got the Warriors number 1, Rockets 6th seed, Denver, Memphis, and then the other side, things look kind of normal over there other than maybe the Bulls being in. Let's take a look at the player stats. So again, 29 and 29. Booker and Durant, as I mentioned, were incredible, which is no surprise. Norman Powell with 12, 11 from Brooks, 11 and 9, and almost 2 blocks from Zubac, which is why I was almost fine with just keeping him once we got close to the deadline. Monty Morris, 9 and 6, really solid, which is what I wanted. My point guard, Terrence Mann, Gafford, 8 and 6, and a block off the bench. So I really can't complain from what we got. We got some really good role players, and it worked out. So Let's see. We get Lakers in round 1. So obviously Durant versus LeBron would be a movie. Got Hawkins as starting point guard, which he would have been a perfect fit for the Lakers. Austin Reeves, LeBron, Vanderbilt, AD. We got Chamura, Malik Beasley, Mo Bamba, TJ Warren. So they have a solid team. I don't think we're able to just like sit here and just feel like we're gonna win automatically. This is going to be a tough series, but let's see what happens. So many current round against the Lakers, and they're gonna jump up 3-0 on us. Damn, not ideal. I'm assuming AD is getting the best of Zubac most likely. Maybe we come back from 2-0, but going home in round 1 is not what I envisioned after, everything we did this offseason. But I guess that just goes to show maybe I should have made a move at the deadline, and we do get swept in round 1. Damn. That's what I get for staying complacent at the deadline. I may regret that forever. But we got the Warriors and the Lakers. The Warriors go all the way to the finals. Got Warriors and Cavs. Who did the Warriors? I mean, did they do anything different? They still have Jordan Poole, who's an 86 overall, which obviously that is not the case anymore. But let's go ahead. You got the Cavs. The Cavs go on to win the championship. Atlanta got beat in these conference finals. Okay. All right. Lakers. LeBron retires. You know what? I'm just gonna let you retire because I don't want to get swept again. That was unfortunate. So Blazers are gonna end up with the #1 overall pick this time around, and then our pick, I'm pretty sure, is going somewhere else again. Let me double check that. So we are not the Nets. We are the Suns, and that's going to the Clippers because we just traded that, of course. Staff signing, head coach. I think I do want to keep Frank Vogel around, although if I can get Tyronn Lue, I would not hate that either, but I'm going to go ahead and try to get Frank Vogel back as well. So Frank Vogel, I'll just try to get you back. Really can't go wrong by doing that. So Frank Vogel will keep around, although getting, beaten round 1 was not what I had in mind. It's all good. So I don't know what I'm technically going to do this offseason, but I'm not happy with the results, of course. So we got to do more. We're not gonna just sit on our hands. We're gonna do something. So let's get into the draft. Actually, that's not even gonna matter for us. We can just go straight past it at this point. So I'm curious to see how things went though in the draft. So Blazers just take Alex Sarr, Buzelis, Nicole Toppin. So pretty solid there. And then player options, Landry Shamet. I'm going to accept that because I might need it for a traded salary potentially. And then free agency, we do get, like a Monte Morris re-signing, Baisley. But I do want to re-sign Monte Morris. Even if I don't plan on him being the starting point guard, I am going to try, which I still think I would be fine keeping him as a starting point guard. But I definitely want to keep my options open. So that was only like our big re-signing. We can get DeLon Wright back as well, which probably should have that on the table. But Monte Morris, Terrence Mann, Landry Shamet, Kogi, Norm Powell, Durant, and then Zubac and Gafford. So I think the main thing, I think we should be looking for a power forward or center. We should be looking for either the upgrade from Zubac, which I, again, don't hate how he played last year. But I'm not saying he was the problem, but it wouldn't hurt to go get an upgrade if possible. So I think that's what we really got to focus on. So I'm going to scan around the league. You're going to see what our options are. Go get Nurkic back on the Suns, maybe. DeAndre Ayton on the Wizards, but I'm not bringing him back, obviously. So we're going to see what our options are, and we'll go from there. So I'm trying to get a backup power forward here, and, we're looking at Rui Hachimura. I'm going all in even more with some more draft capital being involved, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Matt Ishbia away, and we're going to offer this, and the Lakers do agree. LeBron James retiring may lead to a new era, but now I have Rui Hachimura as the backup forward, which I think is going to fit much better than what we had originally. So is that our one upgrade? It might actually be. We're also going to sign DeLon Wright back as well in free agency. You can never have enough depth, of course. So Rui Hachimura is our big addition, which isn't a bad addition by any means. We're just going to pretend last year was a fluke. I kind of hated how that went. I just don't know how we get bounced in round 1 like the way we did. I did have an option. Norm Powell goes down like crazy, man. I did not expect that much regression, but I did have the option to get Brook Lopez. I thought about it for a second, but I wonder how much he would regress. Let's see if I regret this. He is down to an 81. Not bad, but he's also 36 years old. And I know 2K can have some problems with how, older players. So, that's why the Bucks were so bad, because of how old their roster is at this point before they traded for Dame. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel good. I feel all right that I didn't trade for Brook Lopez, although that would have been really sweet too. He would have fit perfectly. But regardless, we're going to the next season with our heads held high again. Norman Powell going down in overall that much really, really sucks. I should have traded him. I probably should have seen that coming though, but whatever. So Monte Morris, Devin Booker, Dylan Brooks, Durant, Zubac, Rechmera, Gafford, Terrence Mann, and Baisley. So that kicks Norman Powell completely out of the rotation, which really sucks. I don't think he should regress them as much as he does, but he does. Darius Baisley, I guess, is going to play some backup 3 for us, which is fine. 78 overall to backup 3. That's still extra depth that I didn't even see coming. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the end of year number 2. And we're going to hope that this year goes much better. I expect the regular season to be fine, but last year, playoffs, not what we had in mind. Once again, the regular season goes decently well. I decided not to stop at the deadline once again. Hopefully, I don't regret it, but we'll figure out. We'll see what happens. So, we end up as the 3rd seed in the Western Conference. We played Denver in round 1, which is another tough opponent. We had 30 points, 27, 11, 11, 10, and 6, 10, 9, 7, and 6. So, I might even just run an 8-man rotation just to be like our best 8 players on the floor at all times. So we'll see how that goes for us. So Denver in round 1, Jamal Murray, Bruce Brown stayed in Denver this time for them. Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, Jokic, Christian Brown, Zeke Naji, J.R.E., and then Peyton Watson. So here goes nothing. Hopefully this time around we do not lose in round 1, somebody current round, and we are going to go to a game 7. So we had them on the ropes, and we find a way to let them creep back in, and we might be going home in round 1 again. So maybe I just messed up again. And I could. Yep, we did. All right, so we go home in round 1 once again. So this experiment so far is not going well. Okay. We gotta put our best trades on the table this offseason. I think we gotta move on from Zubac. I tried to give him a chance. It's not working. Cavs going to win the championship again. I am very upset. Kyle Lowry retires a Phoenix Sun. But yeah, I gotta win a championship. We've done all that we could to try to get us there, and we have not gotten that far yet. So we're gonna make sure we do all that we can this offseason to make sure that happens. So Zubac, thank you, but you gotta go. So that is the first step. So I think we're simply just gonna go get Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks. I need some type of upgrade. Let's see what they say. They say no. I'm gonna throw another first in this scenario. I'm throwing all the picks at the wall, and I'm seeing what they say. They agree. Mitchell Robinson, welcome to the Suns. You're no longer the Knicks. So that is my big gigantic upgrade. We'll see if it works out. Let's go to player options, and we got nothing going on there. Qualifying offers, we can let those guys go. And then free agency, we're probably okay. Terrence Mann, I do want to resign, and then also Baisley, I probably want to resign as well. I'm not going to resign Zubac. I'm just going to let him go. We're not even going to resign him, and I'm not going to worry about trading him because we don't have assets. So we can sign Bogdan in free agency, though. So let's see what else we got as an option. So we pretty much have a full rotation. Backup point guard, Javon Carter has played in Phoenix before. We can sign Bogdan or a KCP. I think we got to sign like a Kadavius Caldwell-Pope. That doesn't actually hurt us whatsoever. So going to sign KCP. And this was probably our last offseason. So if things don't work out here, then we may not win a championship today with everything I've done. So Ishbia, I have failed you if we don't get it done here. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully things can work out our way. But we'll see what happens. So let's just get straight into next season. We're locking in the rotation. We have a brand new upgrade at the center position. Not even saying it was Zubac's fault, but for whatever reason, I feel like it was. But I could be wrong. Maybe it wasn't. So proficiency, 4-star balance still. Mitch Robinson, please carry us down low. And I still feel pretty solid about this team. So we'll see how it goes. I'll see y'all at the end of year number 3. So here we are for our potential final season here. Devin Booker makes another All-NBA team as we secure the first seed in the West. At this point, I'm just hoping to make it to the conference finals. We haven't even gotten out of round 1 yet. So let's just hope that we can get out of round 1 at this point. So we get Minnesota in round 1. Proctor, Edwards, Wendell Moore, Cat, Gobert, Kenny Martin, Jordan Nwora, Keontae George. So many current round against the Timberwolves, and we are going to... It's a miracle we get out of round 1. So that's off to a great start in these playoffs. We get the Memphis Grizzlies in round 2. Dylan Brooks' former squad. They have Morant, Melton, Bailey. They have Wiseman. It looks like they lost Desmond Bane. So that definitely makes them a lot worse. But I guess James Wiseman in this scenario is decent, I guess. Jaren Jackson up to an 88. We'll see how this goes. Somebody go around against Grizzlies, and we're going to beat them in 5, and we make it to the conference finals. W. So we finally get as far as we wanted. Peyton Watson, Porter, Gordon, and Jokic. Gary Trent Jr. Really solid team in Denver still, so we definitely have our work cut out for us. So here goes nothing. Game 1, 1-0. We beat them pretty good in game 1. Would love to continue that. Game 2, they even it up. They return the favor. Game 3, 2-1. Game 4, We're going to a game 5 against Denver. Huge game 5. Although also, by the way, Darius Baisley's going to start. So game 5 in Phoenix. Would love nothing more than to take this one away from the Nuggets, and we are blowing them out. So we have this one pretty easily. And if we don't have to go to a game 7, wow, we scored 163 points, 40 and 39. Awesome to see. All right, game 6 in Denver to avoid a game 7 back in Phoenix. No pressure situation. But it looks like we might be going to a game 7 unless we come back. And we almost do. We lose by 2. All right. A-man rotation to end things off here. Game 7 in Phoenix to get to the NBA Finals. Let's do what we did in game 5 and just blow them out. So this is off to a pretty solid start. We might be doing what I asked. Just kidding. Close game. Fourth quarter is going to be a close one. We have a 7-point lead, 6-point lead. 7-point lead again with 30 seconds left. Do we find a way to blow this? I'm never playing this game again, and we do beat the Denver Nuggets to get to the finals. Okay, so now we get the Cavaliers, who have won a couple championships in the video. They have Josh Giddey now with Mobley, Jarrett Allen, and Garland, which is interesting. Pretty solid team in Cleveland. We'll see how this goes. So game 1, 1-0 goes to the Cavs. Game 2, we even it up. Beat them by 5. Game 3, 2-1. If we go down 3-1, that is probably a death wish. So let's come about here and see if we can tie the series up. We got to win in Cleveland to do so. Back and forth game in this game 4. And we are going to hopefully win this game 4. We need it really badly. And we are going to find a way to choke it at the end. So game 5 to keep our hopes alive here. Not looking good for us, but you never know. Game 5, we got to win it. Got to have it. And we are going to take the lead here. Can we keep it is the question. Ah, man, we got another close one. Cleveland, as we know, is just one of those teams that even now, it's just hard to beat them in 2K. They're just so damn good. But we might have this one in our back pocket. How did they score? What? How was that? There was like 30 seconds left and they scored like 5 points. We won. Still, whatever. Okay, that was crazy. But all right. Dillon Brooks is still going to start. Game 6 in Cleveland to force a game 7 back to Phoenix. We start off with a lead in the first quarter. That means absolutely nothing. If we can keep it, we're going to a game 7, which is what we want. And we might keep it. And we are going to keep the lead. We are going to a game 7. Wow, they scored. They almost made it close again. All right, game 7. Here goes nothing. Game 7 in Phoenix to win this championship to end the video. Can we do it? First quarter is looking good for us. We score 41 points in the first quarter, but they respond in the second quarter with really good scoring of their own. Can we make it close at the end? We are down 12 in the fourth quarter, and I think we may fall short here of our goal of beating the Cavs to end the video, and that really is going to suck. I mean, we're kind of crawling back into it, but we got to stop the Cavs, and we are going to not get it done. We're going to lose in 7 to the Cleveland Cavaliers to end the video. I did my very best, but I think a couple years I made some mistakes by not going all in even more. I didn't make moves at the deadline, and that's completely my bad. But you know what? We went from getting beaten round 1 to almost winning a championship. I'll take it, I guess. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see y'all in the next video. This is Crushables. I am saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.